morning.
Good morning.
Good morning on this very sunny, beautiful morning. And there are two major things that I need to tell you this morning. I had rain yesterday. Oh, yeah. Everything is looking greener already, and the animals are very, very happy. And no donkey baby yet. I'm so sorry. She is going to take her time, bless her heart. So, good morning and welcome to Trinity MCC. We are so grateful that we are now live on YouTube. Yes, that deserves applause. It took a lot of work, especially on Jonathan's behalf. The fact that we are now live on YouTube, we trialed it on Friday night. And normally when we go live on Facebook, it freezes up every so many minutes, for a second, for 2 seconds. There was one tiny little glitch on Friday night for like less than half a second. So it is a much better system, and we are so grateful. So our theme today is Day of Service, and I'll explain why a little bit later. But I have some opportunities for you to engage in the life of our church, an opportunity to donate, an opportunity to sponsor. We have many things for you this morning. So after worship is our Ask the Board. And Ask the Board is where we'll sit here and you can ask us anything that you like about the life of the church. Just to be clear about the life of the church, anything that you need to know, would like to know, and we will do our best to answer that. And if we can't answer there and then, we will go back and look it up for you. This Thursday is Afternoon Connection at 2 o'clock. If you haven't been to Afternoon Connection, it's just a chill afternoon. Not going to be so chill this Thursday. It's going to be a little busy because we're going to be stuffing our blessing bags between 2 and 4 on Thursday afternoon. So come connect, help put these bags together so that we can get them out into the community if you would. And because we have Afternoon Connection, we're not going to have the Thursday night virtual connection, virtual chat. A reminder that we have our Thrive Summer program coming up in July, and that's the 19th, 20th, something around there that weekend. So if you have kids, if you know kids that you think might be interested, it's a mission in the deep blue sea, I think. Is that right? Yeah, deep sea. So we need to register. If you need help with registering, just see Camila or myself. So this one, if you are over 70 and a half years old, whether you're at home, this is for people who live in America, so those of you who live outside of the States that join us, you only get to switch off for half a second. We were told by Kathy about if you have an IRA. If you do, you can make use of a qualified charitable distribution called a QCD. And with a QCD, you can donate up to $105,000 direct from the IRA to a charity without getting taxed on the distribution. So it's win for you, win for us. Sorry, any charity that you give to. When you reach that age, you actually have to take money from your IRA, and it can be used to satisfy the requirements that they give you. So please, if you're 70 and a half and you haven't thought about doing that before, consider the amazing work we do and consider doing that with us, or even any charity. So yesterday we had our senior leadership meeting, and for those of you who don't know who's on senior leadership, it's staff, board, and team leaders. And we always spend a time in there just looking at how we can make things better, things that we can do to enhance the life of the church, to grow our spirituality. And one of the things that came up was a buddy system. And so we're still working on that, but just keep that in the back of your mind about buddying people and growing relationships. And the other thing that came up was about pride. Every year I get very confused in this country, especially in Gainesville. So for those who don't know, in America, June is Pride Month. In Gainesville, September, well actually normally October because of the bye week, is Pride Month. So we have Pride then and we have some other events. And so for Pride Month, we normally decorate the church with our banners. We have themes set around it. And that's in September. But in June, when everybody else is doing it, we have done nothing. So we have decided to switch it up next year. This year we'll keep the same. But next year we're going to decorate for the whole of June to be in line with the rest of the country. And then in September or October, depending on which day Pride March is, we will decorate some in the sanctuary. But we're actually going to get some smart bulbs. Now, I don't know if you can see the bulb above here is blue. It's blue because I told it to be blue. It was white when it started. It can be any color it likes. So we want to get some smart bulbs for every light that we have in the building. So when we get to Pride Month, the 6 sets of lights will be the 6 colors of the rainbow. And it saves anybody having to climb up on a massive ladder and put the banners over for one Sunday. So on our Amazon, we will be putting up there a link. If you would like to sponsor 1 light bulb, 2 light bulbs, that would be amazing. All right, enough announcements, enough ways to engage in the life of the church. I'm going to invite you to pray with me. God, today we remember and we honor and we look at service. And so I pray that our hearts and our minds will be open to all that you are calling us to do, all that you are prodding us to do, so that we will be able to further the work that you have called us to do in this community, that we will follow on from the legacy that has been left for us. So in your holy name, we lift up our worship to you this day and always. Amen. I'm going to invite you to rise, and everybody can rise in the building now because the cameras are high enough to sing with us. And you can dance if you want to, or dance.
Magnify Jesus, magnify the Lord. Jesus,
The first reading is A Life of Service by Angela. A life of service really is a thing that should be treasured, for you will make a difference to this world that lasts forever. For those who are around someone whose life has good intent will always and forever be affected by their scent. Whilst you may humbly fail to see the permeating heat that comes from all your kindness to the people that you meet, yet others do appreciate the blessings that you bring. It adds a glow to life just as the sunshine does spring. You may not ever notice it, you may not ever know the beauty of your life's work when humbly put on show. So never feel resentment, guard your heart as if it's gold. Jesus, wear the belt of righteousness and let God's truth unfold. And don't rely on gratitude for all the things you do, but ask the Lord for grace and love to help you see them through. Enjoy your special role and know the privilege is yours. God chooses workers carefully to complement his cause. And be assured that many of the seeds you sow will root, and in your absence will go on to flourish and bear fruit. So live in humble servitude, content that God above is watching with a parent's pride to shower you with love.
You may wish to rise as you're able as we sing over all the earth.
Over all the earth, over all the earth, you reign on high. Every mountain, stream, every sunset sky. Not my one request, not my only aim, is that you reign in me again. Reign in your power over all my dreams. In my darkest hour, you are the God of all I am. So won't you reign in me again? Over every thought, over every word, may my life reflect the beauty of my God. Wish you mean more to me than any earthly thing. So won't you reign in me again? God, reign in me, reign in your power over all my dreams. In my darkest hour, you are the God of all I am. So won't you reign in me again? God, reign in me, reign in your power over all my dreams. In my darkest hour, you are the God of all I am. So won't you reign in me again? Won't you reign in me again? Won't you reign in me again? The splendor of the King, clothed in majesty, let all the earth rejoice, all the earth rejoice. You wrap yourself in light, and darkness tries to hide, and trembles at your voice, trembles at your voice. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? And all will see how great is our God. And age to age nearing at the end, and God and three in one. Creator, Spirit, Son, the Lion and the Lamb, the Lion and the Lamb. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? And oh, we'll see how great is our God. Name above all names, you are worthy of all praise. And my heart will sing, how great is our God. Name above all names, you are worthy of all praise. And my heart will sing, how great is our God. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? And oh, we'll see how great is our God. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? And oh, we'll see how great is our
The second reading today is from Matthew 25, verses 35 to 40. When the Son of God comes in his glory and all the angels with him, he will sit on a glorious throne. All the nations will be gathered before him. And he will separate the people one from another, as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. He will put the sheep on his right and the goats on his left. Then the king will say to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed by God, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me." Then the righteous will answer him, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go to visit you?" The king will reply, "Truly I tell you, whenever you did for one of the least of these, my brothers and sisters of mine, you did it for me."
Thanks, Kathy. So I said that today is the theme is a day of service. Before I do any of that, I want to ask you how much this church means to you. Has this church made a difference in your life? Yes. Are you sure? Yes. Let me know. Yes. Thank you. Are there people in this church who have touched your lives?
Yes. All the time.
All the time. Are there people in this church who have sat with you when you have needed something?
Yes.
There are people in this church who maybe have fed you. Not always, some of us have different needs. There are people in this church that have prayed for you. So I'm figuring that you're really grateful that this church is here. Really? That's the best you got? Are you grateful this church is here?
Yes.
And if this church wasn't here today, would you be sad? Yes. Do you know the reason this church is here today? Well, Lincoln's going to say God, but also because of the legacy of so many people. 1 year ago today, sadly, we lost Whit Gibson. And we said that we wanted to honor him in a way that really spoke about him. And so we threw around some ideas, we talked about naming buildings and things like that. And actually, what we came up with was a day of service in honor of Whit. And the reason for that is because that's what Whit did. He served all of us. And this church is here because of people like him who started this church with David, Barbara, we know Al and Tim and so many others. But they didn't just start the church and then sit there and wait for it to happen. Guess what they did?
They kept on.
So they said what?
They kept on.
They kept on giving. They kept on serving. They kept on working. Not because somebody said to them, this needs doing or this needs doing. Because they saw it needed doing and did it anyway. And isn't that what that second reading tells us? The story of the goat and the sheep. Because, that when they talked about it, Jesus said, whenever you feed one of mine people, you feed me and them. And they were like, well, when did we see anybody in need? What they did was serve all the time. They didn't need to have a label that said, I'm on the care team, or a label that said, I'm on the grounds team, or a label that said, well done, good and faithful servant. Because they served from a place of humility and heart. And that's the only reason that we are here now. And grasp that, because it is the only reason. Because if we had not had people working for this church and keeping it alive, there would be nothing for us. And if we don't keep doing that, there will be nothing for generations to come. And so this life of service that we honor with today is about us seeing where we are in our journey, seeing where we are with our connection with this community. And that first reading, I love most of that first reading. Obviously, that's why I picked it. But it says you may not ever notice it. You may not notice what a difference you make. You may not ever know the beauty of your life's work when it's humbly put on show. Resentment when somebody doesn't say thank you. Guard your heart as if it's gold, and wear that belt of righteousness, and let God's truth unfold. Enjoy your special role and know what a privilege it is to be a part of a community that is there for everybody. To be a part of what is going to happen for generations to come. One of the things with Whit, David, Barbara, Al, and the list goes on, is that they didn't sit down and just wait for it. They didn't come on a Sunday and just say, feed me. Oh, you didn't feed me right this week. Sorry. Come back next week, we'll try again. They came and said, what can we do? In fact, sometimes they didn't even say, what can we do? They just did it anyway. Our second reading reminds us so much that there is so much to do in the community. And what they did didn't just affect this church, but affected the community at large. whether you're joining us from Africa or Australia or England or you're here in the US, the work that we do to those who have nothing, or like this week, we were helping somebody who had no house, and we were able to help with the help of other people, working together to help them with housing. Working together is how it gets done. And so our legacy to WIT and from WIT is to make sure that this place continues for future generations. But in order for that to happen, we have to serve every single day. Now, I know some of you have busy lives. I understand busy. Some of you have differing abilities. I understand that. But you know what? There is so much we can do. And I spoke at the beginning about a buddy system. And somebody came up with it yesterday. I think it was Camillo. Yeah, Camillo came up with it. You know, that we can check in with maybe one person, with two people every week. Somebody shared yesterday, I never knew they did this, because we were talking about checking in on people to make sure they're okay. And she said, oh, after every service, if I see people missing that I know, I'll text them and hope that they're okay. That's service right there. That is service in community, checking in on people and making sure that they're okay. We have, I wasn't going to say this bit, but I'm going to say it anyway. Don't kill me when I do this. But I think there are three types of people. And Kathy knows because we talked about this the other week. So there's this group of people, and this is not a criticism of who's in which group. It's just explaining. There's a group of people, who, like our ancestors in this church, who saw a need, just got on with it. People who see what needs doing or want to help grow the church and come up with ideas and then follow through with those ideas. Then there's a group of people who will do anything for you if you ask them. They just need to be prompted. And maybe we're part of that group that we're not quite sure what needs doing because we're not here all the time. But we need to be prompted. Take this as your prompt. And then there's a group of people who feel that they're not able to do anything. Maybe they have disabilities. Maybe they are at home joining us online. There could be numerous reasons for that group. And I would like to suggest to that group of people, there is so much that you can do. There are so many things that can be done. I know somebody in our church, and I won't embarrass them, that every so often they send out a letter to people with something to cheer them up. You can do that from your home, even if it's by an email, if it's by a text. Have you ever received a text that says, hi, I was just thinking about you? It's huge. It makes such a difference. There are so many places in the world that need help. There is, in Lebanon, I was hearing in Lebanon this morning that they're trying to resituate some of their refugees. They have more refugees per capita than anywhere else in the world. And they are trying to resituate some of those refugees back to Syria, even though there's war going on. There are people with so many needs. We are part of I'm not going to remember the name of it, but we're part of a group in Gainesville that looks after people coming in from other countries. And we have a family of 4 that is coming from Afghanistan. They are fleeing and they're coming. And so as part of that group, we will see what they need and see how we can help with that. There are ways to serve in the world at large, but there are ways to serve in this church as well. And you know, acts of service are a love language. I don't know if you know all about love languages. There's lots of ways that we show love to each other. And, you know, it could be saying things, it could be doing things, it could be physical touch. Acts of service are a love language, are a way to show other people and a community that you love them. And when I was thinking about acts of service and, the way in which we care for people, I have to share with you, Bobby Sue is transitioning into hospice. And, it's a sad journey for her because she's been through so much for the last 2 years. But Friday night, Dee Dee and Lynn and Nat went to see her in the hospital. But Anton didn't get to go. So yesterday, he insisted that he went to see her. And when we were sat there, and as he got there, the first thing he said to her, "I love you, Bobby Sue." That's an act of service, an act of love. And what he did when he left, "I love you, Bobby Sue." Sky this morning saw that nobody had set up outside because I was on duty and I hadn't forgotten to do it. And Sky just went out and started putting everything out. That's an act of service. Now, if you don't know who those two people are, they're our kids, our youngest kids. And they are serving our community. They're our generations to come that can teach us so much. If you're a person that sits and waits to see how you can serve us, I want to encourage you to ask. I want to encourage you to ask myself or the board or a team leader how you can help. Because if we're not careful, the people who are in that first group that I talked about, which is always the smallest group, get tired, get exhausted. And we don't want that to happen. We want the load to be shared. In this church, you can do so much. Oh my goodness. And so many people do already. You can be part of the care team, driving people to appointments if they need it, visiting them in hospital, sending them cards. You can be part of the prayer team that prays every week over the prayers that come in. You might be the person that sees that the sign needs washing and just grabs a bucket and a cloth and washes it down so it looks clean. Maybe you love being outside, all right, not in this heat, but it likes to be outside. Could come on the first Saturday of every month and do some grounds work with us. And we put out a request about potluck, asking people to do the cleanup for potluck once a month, and that's full up. So we have somebody for every month. Thank you. If you're at home, maybe you would like to do a reading and we can send it to you. You can record it and share it with us so that we can see the people who are worshiping with us at home. Communion, the same thing. We do not have to be in this building to serve God, serve others, and serve our community. So as we look to honor Whit in the best way that we can, I want to encourage you to see how you can serve, to see how you can help this place be there for generations to come, how you can serve in your community at large, and how you can carry out acts of service for people. It's so easy to expect other people to do it for us. Sometimes we need to do it for other people. When we do it, it's so important to do it with a good heart. A good heart, a pure heart that says, I'm not doing this because I want kudos for it. Whit hated kudos. He didn't like his name being lifted up. But today we thank you, Whit, for everything that you did. Let us prepare our hearts to be a sanctuary.
God, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy.
I mentioned that Bobby Sue is transitioning through hospice. When she came to us, she was a lot later in life, and she was a little bit older and didn't know what she could do. I tell you, she did a lot that people have no idea about. And one of the things that she did when we had somebody come to the church that had nowhere to stay and was in just such a state, she just opened up her home. Come and stay. So as we pray this morning, we remember Whit, or we think of David today, and all of us who knew Whit. On the anniversary, it's hard. We pray for each person that is feeling heart heavy today. But we also remember those who are transitioning on this journey. And Bobby Sue said, I've made my peace. I'm okay with this. But we still pray with her. And when I said that we would pray with her and we would journey with her, her face lit up. Because she said this place has meant everything to her. It gave her a home when she had nowhere to be herself, spiritually and as Bobby Sue. And that she loves every single person here. So let us pray for that beautiful spirit and others this morning. God, we again, as we did a year ago, give you thanks for Whit and the many ways that he touched lives in his quirky, wacky way. For the many ways in which he served this church with so many others to give us this spiritual safe place that we have today. And God, we ask you to keep reminding us of ways that we continue that legacy for generations to come. But we also think of Bobby Sue as she is on a journey of transition. And only you know how long that journey will take. But we thank you for the impact that she has had on our lives and on other lives that we know nothing about. We thank you for the love that she brought here and that others showed her, just as if it were you. May her transition be one of peace and calm and pain-free. And as her daughter Dawn stays with her, give her the strength to be all that Bobby Sue needs. And where hearts can be changed, change them, God, and bring peace. We lift up Rachel, who had hip surgery on Monday that went so well. And then they sent her home with no rehab. And she fell. And God, even though they said there was no rehab available, when they were advised to take her to the hospital, they realize now that she needs it. And they're going to provide it for her. So we praise you for that. But we also pray for strength for her and Blake and Anna and Pam as they care for her in their different way while she's recovering. And we continue to lift up Rebecca, Marge's granddaughter, with all that she has been through and going through with her traumatic brain injury, but also with the cancer. As that journey continues, give her the strength. Let the medical professionals find out what it is that's making her so sick and treat it. And God, we know that this week there are many missing who are traveling, who are working, who have other things that they have to do today. May they know that they are just a part of this community as every single person online and in this place. Because we are not bound by walls. We are not bound by barriers. We are free. Free to be. And in that freedom, let us choose to serve you with all our heart. Amen. I'm going to come forward, and those who would like can come forward and take communion, and we'll consume together at the end. Jesus was full of acts of service. He washed feet. He prayed with people. Even when they would tug at his robe, where others would have shooed them away, he said, no, let them come. So we have an amazing example to follow. And this meal hopefully reminds us of the amazing work that Jesus did. And part of his work was to love unconditionally. And that's why we have this meal as a reminder. And so he took the bread and he lifted it up. He gave God thanks for it and he broke it. And he shared it. And he said, take, eat, all of you. Do this in remembrance of me. And so as we eat, let us remember. And then he took the cup. He gave God thanks for it. He blessed it. And he shared it. And he said, take, drink, all of you. For this is a sign of the new covenant. This covenant of unconditional love. The unconditional love that Jesus showed his disciples that night. That no matter what had gone past, he loved them. That unconditional love that Anton showed Bobby Sue when he visited her. That unconditional love that Whit shared with us for so many years. May we remember them.
More power, more of you.
as we come to our time of offertory and giving thanks. Today I want to thank the senior leadership team. I want to thank them. I know we have paid staff on there, but each member of staff goes above and beyond. And our board, who give up their time voluntarily, and our team leaders, who also give up their time voluntarily. You know, that's how they are serving our community. So I would ask that you thank them this morning. Go for it, yeah. We also thank everybody who donates to our church in whatever way you donate. Whether you bring a check, whether you do it electronically, whether you pick something off the wish list, however you give. That's another way that ensures that we can be here in the future. And so as we take up our offertory in our last song, I'm going to invite you to sing with us, I have decided to follow Jesus. As we leave our physical and virtual space, we are still community wherever we go. So may we bless our community with our service, and may we receive our service from our community. In God's name I pray. May the peace of God go with you.
Also with you.
Thank you.